Have you ever noticed your house breathing? Not sounds from outside, not pipes, but a slow, wet inhale and an exhale from the walls. They thought it was stress. They thought it was imagination, until one night the house matched their breathing. And that's when they realized something terrifying. They weren't living in the house anymore. The house was living in them. Ryan Cole noticed the breathing on their third night in the house, though later he would realize it had probably been there from the moment they stepped inside. The difference was that his mind hadn't been ready to recognize it yet. Cedar Hollow, Oregon was quiet in a way that made sound feel heavier. No traffic, no distant city hum, just trees, wind, and the occasional creak of an old structure adjusting to temperature. At least, that was what Ryan told himself. He lay awake in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to Megan's steady breathing beside him. Inhale, exhale, slow and even. The sound beneath it was slower, deeper, almost wet. It wasn't coming from the pipes or the heater. It didn't echo. It didn't fluctuate. It followed a rhythm that felt intentional, as if something large and patient was drawing air into itself and releasing it back into the walls. Ryan held his breath. The sound continued. When he exhaled, the house exhaled with him. He sat up, heart pounding, scanning the room. Nothing looked different. The walls were still painted the same pale neutral color Megan had loved during the showing. The floorboards hadn't shifted. The ceiling fan hung motionless. But the air felt thicker, warmer, like the space between lungs and ribs when a chest rises. The moment he stood, the sound stopped. Silence rushed in so fast it made his ears ring. Ryan stood there for a long time, waiting for the noise to return. It didn't. When he lay back down, it started again, softer this time, as if the house had learned to be careful. They had moved because Megan wanted a fresh start. Ryan supported the idea because it was logical. New environment, less stress, a quiet town where Noah could grow up without sirens of screens dominating his childhood. The house itself had been suspiciously affordable, but the inspection report was spotless. No mold, no structural damage, no record of accidents or deaths. Ryan trusted documentation. He trusted data. Fear, in his experience, always came from misunderstanding. The house did not feel dangerous. It felt observant. The first time Noah mentioned it, Ryan almost laughed. "Why does the house breathe at night?" Noah asked over breakfast, swinging his legs beneath the chair. Ryan paused mid-pour, coffee sloshing dangerously close to the rim of the mug. "What did you say?" Noah wasn't scared. That was the unsettling part. He was calm, thoughtful, as if asking why grass was green. "It breathes, like this." He exaggerated an inhale, then slowly exhaled. Megan forced the smile. "Sweetheart, houses don't breathe." Noah shrugged. "This one does." Ryan crouched to his son's level. "You probably heard the walls settling. Old houses make noise." Noah accepted the explanation too easily. He didn't argue. He didn't question it again. That acceptance lingered in Ryan's mind far longer than resistance would have. That night, Ryan recorded audio on his phone and left it running on the nightstand. In the morning, he listened through hours of silence until he found it. A low, rounded sound. Not random noise, not interference. A clear rise and fall. Breathing. When he showed Megan, she frowned. That could be anything. He zoomed in on the waveform. The pattern repeated at exact intervals. "I think the insulation might be trapping moisture," he said, even though the explanation felt thin. Megan studied his face. "Why are you whispering?" Ryan hadn't noticed. By the fifth day, Megan had started avoiding parts of the house without realizing it. She would stop at the hallway and turn back, or hesitate at the top of the stairs before deciding she didn't need what she came for. When Ryan asked her about it, she waved him off. "I just feel crowded," she said, "like the walls are closer at night." Ryan pressed his palm against the wall later when she wasn't around. It was warm. Not sun warm, not heater warm, body warm. At night, the air grew dense. Sounds didn't echo properly. Footsteps seemed absorbed rather than reflected. The breathing grew louder when lights were turned off and quieter when they spoke softly, as if the house were listening. Dr. Victor Lang dismissed everything in under 10 minutes. "Classic environmental stress response," he said, leaning back in his chair. "New location, old house, subconscious anxiety." "But Noah hears it too," Megan said. Lang smiled politely. "Children mirror adult tension." Ryan wanted to argue, but a familiar professional instinct stopped him. Logic was a tool. Fear was not. As they left, Lang added casually, "Old houses can affect perception, especially ones built before modern standards." "How?" Megan asked. Lang paused. "Sleep disturbances, sensory confusion, nothing harmful." Ryan noticed the pause. He said nothing. The smell began 2 nights later. At first, it was metallic, like copper. Then it changed, something warmer, human. Sweat trapped in fabric. Breath exhaled too close. Ryan followed it to the stairwell, where the breathing was strongest. He pressed his ear to the wall. Inhale. Exhale. He knocked once, experimentally. 3 knocks came back. Not an echo, a reply. Ryan staggered away, pulse racing. He told himself it was coincidence, acoustics, anything but what his body already knew. The house was responding. Eleanor Finch appeared on their porch the following evening, her presence sudden and unwelcome. "It's breathing again, isn't it?" she said, without greeting. Megan stiffened. "Excuse me?" Eleanor's gaze slid past them into the house. "You can hear it once you stop pretending you can't." Ryan stepped forward. "What exactly are you suggesting? That this house doesn't like being ignored?" "What happened to the last family?" Megan asked. Eleanor hesitated. "They stayed." "Stayed?" Ryan repeated. "They stopped being separate," Eleanor said softly, then turned and walked away. That night, Noah sleepwalked. Ryan found him standing in the hallway at exactly 3:17 a.m., one hand pressed flat against the wall, breathing in perfect sync with the house. When Ryan pulled him away, Noah blinked awake, confused but unafraid. "It was showing me the inside," Noah said. "It feels better when we listen." Cracks appeared near the ceiling soon after, thin as veins. As the house inhaled, they widened slightly. As it exhaled, they relaxed again. Megan watched in silent horror as Ryan pressed his phone to the wall, recording the rhythmic expansion. "This isn't stress," she whispered. Ryan didn't answer. He tried to open the front door. It wouldn't move. The windows refused to budge. The house inhaled deeply, filling every room with pressure. The walls pulsed faintly, almost tenderly, like muscle beneath skin. Ryan understood then, with terrifying clarity, that the house wasn't trapping them by force. It was trapping them by familiarity, by breath, by slowly convincing them that the walls weren't closing in at all, that this was simply what being inside felt like. The breathing slowed. The breathing did not stop when morning came. Ryan knew this because he never truly slept. He drifted in and out of shallow unconsciousness, each inhale from the walls tugging him back to awareness. When dawn finally pushed pale light through the windows, the house merely softened its rhythm, like something pretending to rest. Megan noticed it first. "It's quieter," she said, standing in the kitchen, eyes hollow. "Like it's pretending nothing happened." Ryan nodded. His head throbbed, as if he'd spent the night holding his breath. "Predators do that," he said, before thinking. Megan looked at him sharply. "What?" "Nothing," he replied, too quickly.
Noah sat at the table drawing. He had filled page after page with the same shape: wide walls, narrow hallways, and something large curled inside them. Ryan watched his son's pencil move with unsettling certainty. "Did it talk to you last night?" he asked gently. Noah didn't look up. "It doesn't talk," he said. "It shares." A cold weight settled in Ryan's stomach. They tried to leave again after breakfast. Ryan packed a bag with shaking hands. Megan grabbed Noah's jacket, her movements rushed and clumsy. The moment Ryan touched the doorknob, the house inhaled sharply. The pressure dropped, making his ears pop. The handle went warm beneath his palm. Ryan pulled harder. The house exhaled. The handle softened. Ryan yanked his hand back with a cry. The metal had left a red imprint on his skin, as if it had pressed back. "It won't let us," Megan whispered. The walls creaked, not with age, but with satisfaction. Ryan called Dr. Victor Lang next. The call connected, but the line crackled strangely, like someone breathing too close to the microphone. "Ryan," Lang said, "you sound winded." "It's the house," Ryan said, abandoning caution. "The walls are warm. The doors won't open. Noah, he's hearing things." A pause. Then Lang spoke more slowly. "Ryan, I need you to listen carefully. Extreme stress can create shared hallucinations, especially in enclosed environments."
"We can't leave," Megan said loudly, as if volume might force reality to cooperate. Lang exhaled audibly. "Then you need to ground yourselves. Stay calm. Panic reinforces delusions." Behind Ryan, the house inhaled deeply, as if amused. Lang continued, "If this is what I think it is, resistance will only—" The line went dead. Ryan stared at his phone. The house exhaled. By midday, the cracks in the walls had widened. The paint stretched, thin and web-like, revealing darker layers beneath. Not wood, not insulation. Something fibrous, something that flexed when the house breathed. Megan pressed a hand over her mouth to stifle a sob. "Ryan, that's not drywall." Ryan touched it. It yielded, not collapsing, responding. The sensation was unmistakable. Muscle. He recoiled, heart pounding. His mind scrambled for explanations, but none fit. No metaphor could bridge what his senses were telling him. The house was not built. It had grown. Eleanor Finch returned just before sunset, standing at the edge of the yard like she wasn't sure the house would let her any closer. "You should have left sooner," she said. "We tried. You knew this would happen." Eleanor's voice trembled. "I knew it would choose." Ryan's blood ran cold. "Choose who?" "The ones who listen," Eleanor said, glancing toward Noah. "They don't have walls inside yet." Noah stepped forward. "It says she stayed too long." Eleanor's eyes filled with tears. "Yes," she whispered, "I did." Ryan stared at her. "You lived here?" Eleanor nodded. "My husband, my sister, they stopped being separate. I was the only one who kept breathing wrong." Megan shook her head. "What does it want?" Eleanor looked at the house. "To be whole." The front door slammed shut on its own. The house inhaled deeper than ever before. Eleanor screamed as the porch boards buckled beneath her feet. The ground seemed to pull inward, dragging her closer to the walls. Ryan grabbed her arm. The house resisted. Eleanor looked at Ryan, eyes wide with terror and something else. Relief. "It's hungry again, and it remembers me." With a strength that didn't belong to her, the house pulled. Eleanor slipped from Ryan's grasp. The wall flexed, opened, and closed again. Silence followed. No blood, no sound. Just a subtle thickening of the air, like lungs filling completely. Megan collapsed to her knees, sobbing. Noah watched calmly.
"It feels better now," he said. That night, the house grew warmer. The breathing slowed, deepened, grew more confident. The walls pulsed visibly now, expanding and contracting with deliberate ease. The smell of human warmth filled every room. Ryan realized something horrifying. The house was no longer hiding. It didn't need to. Ryan barricaded them in the bedroom, though he knew it was meaningless. The floor beneath them felt soft, almost padded. Megan clutched Noah tightly, her body shaking. "We have to fight it," she whispered. Ryan swallowed hard. "It doesn't want to hurt us." The house exhaled. Megan stared at him. "Ryan, what are you saying?" "It wants us inside," he said, "not dead, integrated." As if in agreement, the wall behind them softened. The paint cracked open, revealing dark, pulsing layers beneath. The opening widened slowly, like a mouth learning to smile. Noah stood up. "Don't," Megan begged. "Please don't." Noah turned to her. "It says this is what homes are supposed to do." Ryan stepped in front of him. "Noah, listen to me. Homes protect us. They don't take us." Noah frowned, genuinely confused. "What's the difference?" Ryan had no answer. The house inhaled sharply. The floor dipped. Ryan lost his footing and fell, his shoulder sinking into the wall. Pain exploded through him, not crushing pain, but pressure, like being held too tightly. He screamed as the surface pulled at him, molding around his body. Megan dragged him free, sobbing hysterically. "It's eating us!" "No," Ryan gasped, staring at the wall where his body had been. The indentation slowly smoothed over, erasing his outline. The house wanted shape, identity, breath. Ryan realized the truth too late. The house didn't feed on flesh. It fed on presence, on people who stayed. Ryan made his decision as the walls closed in. "Megan, listen to me. It matches breathing." Megan stared at him, eyes wild. "What does that matter?" "If it syncs with us," he forced himself to slow his breath, "then it depends on us." He began breathing erratically, short inhales, broken exhales. The house hesitated.
The rhythm faltered. Megan understood instantly. She followed his lead, breathing out of sync. The walls quivered, confused, the cracks shuddering. Noah screamed, clutching his chest. "Stop! It hurts!" Ryan's heart shattered. "I know. I'm sorry." The house convulsed. The walls screamed, not audibly, but through pressure and vibration. The structure groaned as its rhythm collapsed. The warmth receded slightly, like blood draining from a limb. The front door creaked open. Fresh air rushed in. Megan grabbed Noah and ran. Ryan followed, lungs burning, the house thrashing around them. They stumbled onto the porch as the house exhaled one final broken breath. Then it went still. Weeks later, the house stood empty again. No investigation ever explained what happened. The structure was condemned quietly, fenced off without ceremony. No bodies were found, no evidence recorded. Ryan and Megan never returned. But sometimes, late at night, Ryan woke gasping for air, convinced the walls were moving. Megan began sleeping with the windows open, no matter the weather. And Noah sometimes pressed his ear against their new apartment wall and smiled faintly. "Don't worry," he whispered once. "This one doesn't breathe yet." Noah pressed his ear against the wall and smiled wider than before. "It's okay," he whispered softly. "This one is still learning how to breathe." Ryan stood frozen, because from inside the wall, something answered him back.